Talk to me.
Hello, everyone. This is the Majestic Talk Show. I'm your host, Latasha Morgan, certified Christian life coach, certified professional life coach, board certified master Christian mental health coach, and a whole lot of other goodies. We have a great show for you today. Our show topic for today is emotional intelligence and behavior. Today we have Vincent Spencer and Marlee Whetten here on our show. Let me tell you a little bit about them. Marlee Whetten is the seventh child of a large family of 11 children. She has 2 loving parents and a dog. She was born and raised in Utah, grew up with a niche culture, having a deep appreciation for rich artistic expression and spirituality. After initially pursuing violin performance and music composition, she earned a Bachelor of Science in Psychology and developmental biology with the purpose of better understanding the human body upon being diagnosed with a common genetic bleeding disorder. Always an advocate, in 2016, Marlee moved to New York City to work for the National Hemophilia Foundation, supporting young adults with bleeding disorders both nationwide and internationally. New York City provided a welcome cultural change. However, describing the difference between her two worlds remained a silent question, unanswered in the back of her mind. Now, Vincent Spencer was born and raised in Brooklyn, New York. He's self-taught. He proved himself as a professional artist upon receiving his first job at the animation studio of the Vision in 1999. Since then, he has worked with clients such as Hasbro's G.I. Joe and Transformers, and was the storyboard artist for Sesame Workshop on seasons 1 and 2 of The Electric Company, Lionsgate's Love Beats Rhymes, Netflix, Mom Rainey's Black Bottom, and continues the development of Zombie Proof alongside co-creator J.C. Vaughn. He also currently teaches comic book storytelling for the New York Edge after-school program. A lifetime within the creative sphere provided a unique lens into human condition. Now, Marlee and Vincent, they are partners. They fell in love in 2019 after 2 years of a close friendship. Everyone, welcome to the show, Marlee Whetten and Vincent Spencer. Hello, Marlee and Vincent. How are you doing today?
Hey, we're doing fantastic.
That's great.
Absolutely great. And thank you so much for having us on your show. We're happy to be here.
Oh, I'm glad you're here. Y'all, I know Marlee and Vincent from online. So Marlee is a member of Self-Made. And so they do what they call the matchbox bot. So they match you up with a person in Self-Made so that you can communicate and maybe join together and do different projects together, to get to know different people. And so that's how I met Marlee. And Vincent happened to be there, and she told me that was her boo. So I enjoyed working with them on a project they had going on. They're very intelligent and very, very talented. And just talking to them one day was just great for me. I really enjoyed talking to them, and I love talking to them. So, Vincent and Marlee, again, welcome. Thank you so much for coming to the show. I really do appreciate it. All the way from New York City. How's the weather up there?
Well, I just got back from Florida, and it's not as nice as that.
It's chilly.
It's really cold up there?
I'm sure it's much nicer where you are.
Yes, it is. I don't like summertime, so I'm not too happy with the weather, really. But it seems like it's almost summer here. So, but we're in February. So hopefully, I'm hoping that would change and let summer come when it's supposed to come. Not too early, And if we could just keep it the way it is now, it'd be good for me. But when it gets summer here, it's hot. I mean, really hot. 100-degree weather. But let's get into the show. I'm going to have a few questions. But tell people what the two of you do. Marlee, you go first.
Sorry, can you repeat that question one more time?
I gave them your background, but tell them what you do.
What I do? Well, Vince and I like to think of ourselves as relationship experts.
Mm-hmm.
And something that we do is we have created a system which can scientifically predict relationship compatibility. And it's in a lot of different places, compatibility in a love or romantic relationship, or maybe also a workplace relationship, or, building teams at work, but also, understanding family relationships. But right now we're focusing on the love and romantic side of things. So we like to think of ourselves as matchmakers, but also helping others to build their relationships, and we do consulting through that as well.
Okay. So, what made you want to do that?
I'm sorry, can you ask that question one more time, please?
Okay. Well, let me say this. Can you tell me a bit more about how you came to create How Do You Know?
Oh, dang it.
A bit more about how we came to do that? Is that what you said?
Mm-hmm. How did you what made you create How Do You Know?
Yeah, that's a great question. Do you want to jump in, then?
Well, it basically became our pandemic project.
Mm-hmm.
This system right here, everyone was in isolation. And Marlee and I, we started noticing a couple of patterns. And, as we began to notice these patterns, we started doing some research. And after a while, our walls started looking like we were a couple of mad scientists.
Mm-hmm.
But something was definitely starting to come together. And so we started developing things even further, the visual design, and then Marlee started dipping even further into the epistemology of the epistemology project.
Mm-hmm.
And it kind of landed us where we're at right now. So where we're at right now is we have a working test that people can take to find out which of the 18 types they are, what their idiosyncrasies are, and who they are compatible with, and who they can get help being compatible with if they're not.
Okay.
Yeah, and if anyone is interested in taking that test, like you did, Latasha, they can go to howdoyouknow.blog and sign up there.
Okay, yeah. And that it is a good test. I took it and I enjoyed it because I love personality. I'm down for purpose. That's what I do as a life coach. But it's really wonderful. It's a great test. It makes you think, and I enjoyed it. It's nice. It's not so tedious like a lot of personality tests where you have 200, 300 questions, and you're like, okay, I'm gonna mark anything because I'm ready to get finished with this test. It's not like that. It's more of a personal touch with it, and I like it. So when we talk about how do you know? Okay, what are the different types of behaviors, and are there different kinds of knowledge?
Yeah, that's a really great place to start. So there absolutely are different kinds of knowledge, and there are 18 types total in this system, and we can kind of divide those in a few different ways to kind of split up and organize how this all works. So the first way that we can split it is in half, and so there are 9 pursuer types and 9 attraction types. And we say pursuer and attraction because this is not a gendered system, but it does describe the social dynamics that exist between men and women in general. But these dynamics also exist in gay and lesbian couples. So since it's not a gendered system, that being said, most women will identify as the attraction and most men will identify as the pursuer. And that's the first way that we can split this up. As far as it goes after that, And I can also say that, there's 9 attraction types and 9 pursuer types. And, there's going to be one of those attraction types that is compatible with one pursuer type. And so once you take the test and you know what type you are, it's very, very easy to know who your compatible type is as well, which is pretty cool. So after that, we can kind of define it, and we can split it up in 3 different ways. And you and your compatible partner are going to gather knowledge using the same methods. That's what creates this compatibility. So we kind of like to say, if knowledge is an iceberg, then you can kind of see what kinds of different knowledge are there. So there's basically 3 different kinds of knowledge. There's reporting kind of knowledge, types of knowledge that's explicit. It's going to be anything that you could put into a Word, Excel, PowerPoint, any type of explicit report. And that's going to be the top of the iceberg. It's standing up outside of the water. It's really easy to see. It's very clear. It's very easy to share this kind of knowledge. Hey, look, there's a piece of ice there, But then there's all of that stuff underneath. And that's divided into 2 different kinds of knowledge. So one of them is knowledge that you can gain just by feeling. And so these kinds of people actually absorb the knowledge and energy around them and then process all of that energy inside of their body to be able to create knowledge. And then on the other side, these are people who gather knowledge based on action. And so they're always, paying very close attention to their own actions, the actions of other people, so that they can, know how to interact. We kind of probably think about this kind of thing as street smart, because you know how to act and to interact with other people regardless of the situation. So those are the 3 main different kinds of knowledge. And whichever one you are, your compatible partner would also be that type.
Okay. So what separates the different types, though?
Well, so kind of like what Marlee touched on, those are the 3 main types of knowledge. Now, each of these, notice that we're only 3, and we told you that there were 18.
Mm-hmm.
So if you think about it like this, each of those 2 types has a subtype that's part of one of the others, right? So if you have A, B, and C, there's AA, AB, and AC. They can be 3 different types. And they have, and A would just be pure A. A and B would have a combination of the 2, with one being more dominant than the other. And same thing with AC. And this is how you kind of get the entire grid of 9 different compatible types that's split between attraction and pursuer. I feel like I might have left something out there.
Yeah, is that a little more clear?
Huh?
Does that clear it up for you, Latasha?
Okay, yeah. So then what we're talking about, really, we're talking about like emotional intelligence.
Yes. So if we want to, so we just talked about how the different types are kind of divided and the differences between all of them.
Mm-hmm.
But there's also things that all of the types have in common.
Mm-hmm.
And there's 3 different things. The first thing has to do with anthropology. And so every type was defined based on, anthropological patterns that we observed in humans. And then the second part is this knowledge gathering mechanism. Each different type has their own different kind of knowledge gathering mechanism. And then the third part is a measurement system. And you can use this measurement system to identify the type and also to measure its spectrum of functionality. So every type, all 18 types, have their own spectrum of functionality. You can be high functioning, you can be low functioning, or anywhere in between. And no matter where you are along the spectrum, you're always going to gather information using the same methods. But if you're higher functioning, you're going to be able to do more with that knowledge than you would be able to if you're low functioning. And this can be measured in a very similar way as emotional intelligence. So that's where this plays in. And emotional intelligence is so exciting because it was really the first measurement system of its kind to be able to measure this kind of thing, what they call soft skills, which may not be a very descriptive title, but nevertheless, that's kind of the magic of emotional intelligence. And we like to think about this as taking that one step further because emotional intelligence, I feel like, is very applicable on a very broad scale. But this system is very individual. So it's what does your emotional intelligence look like based on how you interact with other people and how you gather knowledge versus someone else who gathers knowledge and interacts in a different way. Does that make sense?
Yes, because that's what emotional intelligence is, the ability to understand and manage your own emotions as well as recognize and influence the emotions of those around you. So I get what you're saying. I understand what you're saying.
Perfect.
Okay. So there are a lot of dating and relationship gurus out there. What makes you and your system unique? What makes your personality assessment different from everyone else's?
Well, so the interesting thing is the word personality and personality system. And all the other systems, personality, the metric being measured, is something that you develop throughout your lifetime, something that you kind of come into. But your epistemology, the way that you process information, is what you're brought into the world with, even as an entity. It doesn't change. It adjusts and shifts maybe, but you are your epistemology from when you're born to when you die. And this metric is what makes our system different than all the other personality tests. We're not measuring personality. We're measuring the philosophy, the idiosyncrasy, or your knee-jerk reaction that you came out of from the womb.
Okay. So okay. So
I think another thing to take into account as well is this also kind of ties in a little bit with our origin story as well, which is that we really, we have quite a few friends who have some neurodivergencies and, specifically autism, and we wanted to help them find love. We thought maybe there's something that we could create to help them. And because we built this system with that audience in mind, this system really works for everyone. All neurodivergencies, all sexual orientations. Like Vince mentioned, it's anthropologically based, it's epistemology based. And so these things don't fluctuate as opposed to personality, which fluctuates all the time. So it's a very accurate and descriptive system.
So how does knowing your type support personal growth?
Yeah, I love that question, and it's so important. That's really why we created this in the first place. And our tagline that we like to say is tap into your potential and find your match. And so this is talking about the tap into your potential part. And I think that once you are able to identify your type, it tells you the things about yourself that you can change and the things about yourself that will absolutely never change. And I feel like we spend a lot of time as humans, especially in the first half of our lives, up to 30, maybe even up to 40, trying to figure out who we are and what our values are and what we can change and what we can't change. And all of that just takes so much time and effort and heartache to figure out. And we're hoping that once people start getting this information in their lives, perhaps a little bit earlier, maybe in their early 20s, maybe even in the late teens, that this can help people feel a little bit more solidified in their identity, which can support mental health. and also just, I think it can help build confidence. And with the spectrum of functionality, it's very clearly laid out, and it almost gives you a directional path of, being able to identify where you are on the spectrum of functionality now, and maybe what it could look like in the future if you were higher functioning, and how to get there. And I think the most exciting part about this, and this has been studied with emotional intelligence, is that the higher your emotional intelligence score, the higher your salary is. And these things are very correlated, very, very strongly connected. And so, this, again, takes emotional intelligence one step further, giving you an individual path rather than a broad, generalized path to increase your level of functionality. And as you do that, you're going to see that the rewards coming into your life from many different directions. It's going to improve your personal and work relationships, and, it'll probably bump your salary up too.
Because then when you know what your personality is, when you know what who you are and how you behave in certain circumstances and situations, then it makes you a better employee. So it also makes you a better person because you know who you are. You'll be more apt to function in a greater manner. You again know who you are. You'll know what your purpose is. You'll know how all of that relates to who God created you to be. Right?
Absolutely.
Okay.
And it'll save you a lot of time. You're not going to be swimming upstream. You can really optimize, how you like your self-improvement.
Yeah, I think in the self-help world, it could be really overwhelming, because a lot of people who want to work on self-improvement, and maybe it's something that they've never done before, and maybe they're not surrounded by people who are also interested in that, it can be really difficult to know where to start. Mm-hmm. And so, another part of this would be the find your match side of things. Once you identify your type, then you can find your match with maybe what self-help books are right for you, because now we can categorize different self-help authors according to their type. And so, we can say that your type is such and such. And so we can connect you with authors who are also that type, because they're going to grow the same way that you do. So, everyone has different tips and tricks that work for them. And those tips and tricks are not universal. You have to figure out which ones work for you. And so that's where the find your match part comes in.
And it's a piggyback off of that. Since each type has their own particular idiosyncrasy, they also come with their own particular set of blind spots. Mm-hmm. So being aware of the overall structure and of this vernacular will help you find those blind spots that you're missing as well by learning from another type.
Yeah, like for example, maybe I have a boss who is a type that is slightly more incompatible with mine. Maybe the way that we gather knowledge is incompatible. Mm-hmm. So I could learn more about her type, and gain higher functionality working with that particular type as well. So there's compatibility features in all of this, but then there's also bridge building opportunities as well to get along with other types with less conflict.
Okay, so you know how to work with other people, really. What you're saying, I know how to work better with other people by knowing them and understanding the way they behave.
And yourself, yes.
Yeah.
Right, and myself, but yeah.
Yeah, all of this is very reality-based. What are the things that are real and I can't change about me, and what are the things that are real about you and that you can't change about you either?
So I can't change that I follow the rules.
That's exactly right.
And nor should you.
No.
Because every person on this grid has a place,
mm-hmm,
and
mm-hmm.
Your place is valuable.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, we need people like you.
Yeah.
Actually, your type specifically if we want to zoom out and think about it from the societal level, we talk about your type as being the glue that actually holds society together, because you actually lay down the rules, which is something that we all hold in common. Mm-hmm. That's kind of the definition of society.
Mm-hmm.
You help provide society with its metrics.
Mm-hmm. So we all have, and that's right, true. We all have a place in the world. I'm never going to change that rule thing because I like following the rules because they work.
That's right.
And then that way everybody stays in line, intact, and in order, and we don't have to worry about living in chaos. But we can all live and work together in community the way it should be.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
Marlee and Vincent, tell everyone how they can get in touch with you. We have 2 minutes left on the show. Well, 1 minute.
Well, thank you so much, Latasha. And if anyone wants to get in touch with us, you can go to our website at howdoyouknow.blog and sign up to take the test there. For a limited amount of time, you can take the test one-on-one with us over Zoom, as we're currently in a beta testing phase. So sign up soon to get that extra perk.
All right.
Yes, it's been fantastic talking to you again, Latasha.
It's fantastic talking to you. Everybody, too, I just want you to also know that Vincent is an artist, a professional artist, and he did their photos. He just wanted to have his stuff different than everybody else that comes on the show. So, you know.
This one flex my muscles a bit.
So that's why, that's why their photos look like that and mine look the way it does, because, they just wanted to be different from everyone else.
Hey, our type likes to break the rules.
Yeah, right.
We like to be different.
And I like to be.
See the harmony that we're creating together?
Yeah, it's working because I love it. I really do. So thank you both for coming on the show. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in. You're welcome. It was a pleasure. It is a pleasure. So thank you, everyone, for tuning in. This is the Majestic Talk Show, and I'm Latasha Morgan, certified Christian life coach, certified professional life coach, board certified master Christian mental health coach, and a whole lot of other good goodness. Have a nice night, y'all, and thank you again for tuning in. Good night.
Talk to me, to me. Majestic talks. Come and talk to me. Talk to me, to me. Majestic talks. Come and talk to me. Majestic talks. Come and talk to me. Majestic talks. Come and talk to me, to me.